Hello, I'm Amy Zawi for the Jerusalem Connect Red Alert Report for Wednesday, December 5th. Update on the Women's March. By the way, happy third day of Hanukkah to everybody. Well, it seems that the dubious efforts of Miss Linda Sarsour, an activist and outspoken BDS supporter who claims to be for democracy, free speech, and women's rights, while her actions are being recognized by some of Hollywood's most progressive members as false. Alyssa Milano recently withdrew her support for the march and her invitation to speak at the event because of the leadership of Linda Sarsour and the anti-Semitic trail she has blazed in her public career. Ms. Milano is a feminist with connections to the Me Too movement and other philosophies and is often aligned with the left and has stopped short in her support of the Women's March, not because she disagrees with the overall perspective of women's issues in the United States, but because of the leadership that is representing it. Sarsour has noted that the slow result of her recognition of a trail of philosophies and has issued a apology of sorts. While not addressing the issue of her co-founder, Tamika Mallory, another women's rights co-founder, Mallory last year had expressed close ties and supports of Louis Farrakhan, who is openly anti-Semitic and visceral to the Jewish community, even posting photos with him during one of his most outlandish public speaking events against the Jews. Well, Sarsour, in her so-called apology, regretted the slow movement to address the concerns of women who are leery of the march due to its alienation of Jewish women, which in part came from Sarsour's own words in the recent years, that one cannot be a Zionist and the feminist at the same time. People are recognizing the ridiculousness of Sarsour's philosophies as she habitually rails against Zionism and Israel. Israel is a nation who lift women to the highest positions of equality and power in all of the Middle East. While she nary says a word regarding her own culture, her own religion, or the leadership of neighboring nations of Israel. This hypocrisy is so incredibly obvious that even the most progressive and left among U.S. policy advocates cannot get past this disconnect. Sarsour has been a polarizing figure to American Jews, some on the right center point her anti-Zionism activists. This week, the Jewish Committee condemned her for criticizing, quote, folks who masquerade as progressive but always choose their alliance to Israel over their commitment to democracy and free speech. That's a quote from Sarsour, and it doesn't even make any sense. Again, this is a historically used smear that Jews have a, quote, dual loyalty. Accusing Jews of a dual loyalty is one of the oldest, most pernicious anti-Semitic tropes. The American Jewish Committee wrote that in a tweet just last week. Some progressive Jews have worked with Sarsour and defended her from charges of anti-Semitism. They point particularly to her fundraising efforts for the funerals of the victims of the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting, as well as some fundraising efforts to help a Jewish cemetery that was vandalized. These efforts, in my opinion, are very disingenuous. Putting up a post on social media asking for other people to send their money so that you can send a few bucks to a few Jewish organizations is a simple and painless way to set up the appearance that one regrets the pain that the Jewish community may suffer in the wake of the visceral and genocidal rhetoric that comes from Sarsour, her associates, her stances, her philosophies, and those who follow them. Sarsour then had the nerve to suggest that folks are disagreeing with her, discrediting her, and questioning her because not of her philosophies and her history, but because she's a woman who is Palestinian. Here's a quote from Sarsour. It's very clear to me what the underlying issue is. I am bold, outspoken BDS supporting Palestinian women, and I am the opposition's worst nightmare. She goes on to then say, they have tried every tactic at their disposal to undermine me, discredit me, vilify but my roots are too deep and my work too clear, and they have not succeeded. So by proxy, they began attacking my sister, Tamika Mallory, knowing all too well in this country the most discardable woman is a black woman. I'm sorry, this is just an absolutely ridiculous statement. When, on the merits of her history and work, she's called out and questioned, she pulled both the woman card and the race card. And it's ridiculous. Moreover, in the wake of all this, Teresa Shook, the actual main founder of the Women's March movement, has asked both these women, Mallory and Sarsour, to step away because she recognizes And her quote is that they have permitted the hatred of Jews and bigotry to become part of the movement. Even their own co-founder is recognizing the truth of Sarsour and Tamika. So while we make progress in exposing truth and getting one person at a time to see it and speak it, in the war of PR and truth reporting, the casualties are usually Jewish students on college campuses feeling threatened and discriminated against, Jewish cemeteries and community centers cleaning up vandalism laced with hate, and even synagogues facing active shooters and ultimately funerals. Throwing some money at a few victims and making tweets saying, "Sorry, you misunderstood me," does not deceive us, not in the least, and we will see right through it and report about it. So please go to our website, thejerusalemconnection.us, and click on the first block on the homepage that says TJCI versus Antisemitism. Read our position paper and our solidarity statement against anti-Semitism and with Israel. Please click the link to add your own signature to that to express your own support for these notions. As well, you can use that same homepage to sign up and receive weekly emails of news, reports, and other items. Shavua Tov, and have a great week.